Sweden has a very specific doctrine when it comes to national defense. The equipment of your armed forces is always designed to be not only efficient, but also simple to operate and maintain, with a minimum need for support and also a high rate of operational availability. Based on this doctrine, during the Cold War, more specifically in the 1980s, the Swedes launched a request for a family of vehicles that should be highly mobile, relatively light, well protected, with great firepower and, above all, capable of fulfill a variety of missions based on specialized versions but with a common foundation. This is how the CV90 family of armored vehicles emerged, an acronym for Combat Vehicle 90. The CV90 is the basis of a family of armored vehicles that use the same platform but have specific versions for each type of mission. The first and most numerous of all versions is the IFV variant, an acronym that stands for Infantry Fighting Vehicle. The IFV variant of the CV90 is very modular, making it possible to integrate it with a variety of weapons and sensors. However, most of them are equipped with 30 or 40 mm cannons, which uses various types of ammunition, such as armor-piercing and time or proximity explosion. This variant maintains a transport capacity and can carry, in addition to the crew, up to 7 equipped soldiers. Fire control is carried out by Mira Yutas, from Saab, comprising thermal imagers and laser distance measurement systems. This sight allows you to engage both aerial and ground targets, whether the vehicle is stationary or moving, day or night. A distributed opening system is also available, made up of several cameras covering 360 degrees, linked to the defensive system that even guides the driver on how to act when under enemy attack. One of the most recent functions developed for the CV90, certainly influenced by the current war in Ukraine, is combating drones. These devices, when improvised with explosives or used in support of artillery through location and target designation, pose a serious threat to troops on the ground and armored vehicles such as the CV90. To deal with this type of threat, the CV90 counts with thermal sensors capable of detecting even small drones at safe distances, while target neutralization is carried out by the main gun using special ammunition with proximity explosion modes. Weight and armor vary depending on the generation of the vehicle, which is designated by the acronym MK. Since its inception, the CV90 has been constantly updated, and each new generation incorporates changes and improvements that have significantly modified the level of protection and consequently the weight. For example, the IFV Mk1 variant, that is, the first generation, had just over 20 tons, while the IFV Mk4, that is, fourth generation, has around 37 tons, in addition to a more powerful engine, with around 1,000 horsepower. Few details about the CV90's armor have been published, but it is estimated that the Mk4 generation is capable of resisting, at a minimum, 30 mm armor-piercing projectiles and RPGs, as well as mines with a payload of up to 10 kg of TNT. However, as most shielding is based on kits that can be added, removed or exchanged, the actual level of protection will depend on the requirements of each operator. The CV90 Mk4 can also receive an active protection system to complement traditional armor, as well as rudimentary grills, which are efficient against missiles and drones with hollow-charge warheads. Another interesting version of the CV90 is the short-range anti-aircraft defense version. This version is equipped with a 40 mm cannon capable of reaching a large elevation angle and maintaining a fire rate of approximately 300 rounds per minute. It uses 3P programmable ammunition, capable of shooting down aerial targets up to 4 km away, even if there is no direct impact, thanks to its proximity fuse. At the top of the tower is a radar that scans the airspace 360 degrees looking for targets before passing them on to the fire control system. The anti-aircraft CV90 fulfills a similar role in the Swedish army to the German Gepard, especially protecting armored units against aerial threats, as planes, drones and attack helicopters. There is also the APC version, which means Armored Personnel Carrier, the same function performed by the M113, for example. This variant, known as the CV90 Armadillo, received a remote weapon station, additional armor, and can carry up to 7 fully equipped soldiers. For artillery, the CV90 has a very interesting version equipped with a double 120mm mortar mount. It can internally carry up to 56 rounds of ammunition, capable of hitting targets up to 13 kilometers away with standard ammunition at a maximum rate of 16 rounds per minute. Still for artillery, a version with a 155mm cannon was also proposed. However, the diversity of versions of the CV90 does not end there. A newer variant, classified as CV90-120, is the light tank version. This version of the CV90 received a 120mm gun turret, equivalent in firepower to any current main battle tank. The weight of this version rose to 40 tons, which forced the adoption of a new engine, with around 1014 horsepower. This engine guarantees a good power-to-weight ratio of approximately 25 horsepower per ton of weight, and a maximum speed of 80 km per hour. This is far superior to most main battle tanks which, with few exceptions, generally have a ratio of around 20 horsepower per ton of weight and a maximum speed of between 60 and 70 km per hour. The actual armor of the CV90-120 is classified, but because it is modular, it can be reinforced or not according to the requirements of each operator, which includes everything from additional passive armor modules to active defense systems. However, the passive armor is certainly somewhat inferior to the armor of modern main tanks, which is why the CV90-120 is lighter. The CV90-120, however, in addition to being faster and more agile, is still smaller than a traditional MBT, especially in length and width. As a comparison, considering only the length of the chassis, the CV90-120 is 1 meter and 70 centimeters shorter than a Challenger 2, in addition to being 20 centimeters smaller in width. This makes it a smaller target and consequently more difficult to hit, especially at longer distances. As a self-protection measure, it also received a very strong focus from the beginning on reducing signatures, especially infrared. An interesting item offered with the CV90-120 is adaptive camouflage, which is made up of electrical pixels that can change according to the environment, changing their infrared signature. As you can see, the armored vehicle has its signature modified, making it appear to be a civilian vehicle or other object and could thus go unnoticed by an enemy. As an alternative, Saab's multispectral camouflages are also available, which reduce both the infrared signature and the radar signature, as they are made from an absorbent material similar to that used in stealth aircraft. This combination of great mobility, reduced dimensions, special camouflage and a stabilized 120mm cannon can make the CV90-120 a fearsome adversary for any current main battle tank. There are also several other versions of the CV90, such as command and control, combat engineering, winch, observation, reconnaissance, ambulance and logistical transport, all using the same platform. Currently the Mk5 generation of the CV90 is under development. Among the improvements will be a hybrid propulsion system with combustion engines and electric motors, a reduction in the radar and infrared signature level and integration with drones. However, the biggest capability gain of the Mk5 generation will be the integration of the Acheron anti-tank missile. The Acheron is a fifth-generation anti-tank missile that has the ability to attack targets outside line of sight, that is, targets that are behind some type of cover or obstacle and that have been designated by another platform, such as a drone. Acheron can be used during the day or night and in adverse weather conditions and has the ability to redirect after launch, so it can change targets if another target more valuable than the initial one appears. Its maximum range is around 5 kilometers and its warhead can penetrate more than 1,000 millimeters of steel or more than 2,000 millimeters of concrete, which is enough to destroy any current armored vehicle, especially when attacking from above, where the armor is thinner. This warhead also has more than 1,500 tungsten fragments that are released after the explosion, which guarantees a highly lethal anti-personnel effect in a radius of more than 15 meters. In this way, the CV90 Mk5 will be quieter, more difficult to detect using radar and thermal sensors, and will have greater conscious situational and greatly improved firepower with the integration of the Acheron missile. These features made the CV90 a great sales success, and more than 1,300 units have already been sold in several countries around the world. The unit cost for the IFV versions has been between 2.9 and 4.4 million euros, depending on the final configuration and logistical issues. More sophisticated versions such as the CV90-120 may cost more, but they are still certainly cheaper than a pure MBT. Technically, the CV90 may be the only tracked armored vehicle model in an entire army, with each version fulfilling its specific functions but sharing the same platform. This increases standardization and consequently availability rates, and also reduces costs, which is exactly the objective behind this project, which was designed based on the Swedish defense philosophy that preaches simplicity, efficiency and low costs. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.